Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the first part in a 3-part series that I will be making called A 13-Year-Old's Guide to Joy, Part 1, Pleasure. So there's gonna be a 3-part series that I want to make. So tomorrow I'm going to make part 2, happiness, and the day after that I'm going to make part 3, joy. So I just want to okay, so in this video I will be going over what is pleasure, why do we desire pleasure, and once we get pleasure, what do we do with that? Okay, so first of all, obviously, as a 13-year-old, I am happy. I'm very happy. I'm not happy. I'm joyful. I'm full of joy. I'm full with this unsatiating peace that God has given me, and that's the only way that we can truly be joyful. So, when it comes to pleasure is what's stopping us from becoming happy or from becoming joyful. Now, to start off, I just wanted to make the distinction between pleasure, happiness, and joy. And in this video, in this series, I will just be defining them as the different levels of gratification. Okay, so what is pleasure? So pleasure is the lowest form of gratification. It is disgusting. It is social media, drugs, all those other things that will get you high for a little bit and then you'll come crashing down. That is what pleasure is, and pleasure is dangerous because it's addicting. And when people want to become happy, the first thing that they need to get rid of is their pleasure, is pleasure, when it comes to because those things are not enough to fulfill you. So obviously, when we talk about pleasure, we desire pleasure because we want to fill something that's inside of us. So we feel empty. We feel like at least for atheists, they feel like nothing matters. How can they live when nothing matters? So they try to just have as much pleasure as they can to fulfill their meaningless lives. So and the more we try to gain pleasure, we desire pleasure to numb the pain that some people feel from being empty and from feeling purposeless. So once we receive pleasure, that's it. We had our high for a couple moments and we come crashing down. So we start craving that high. We start craving to feel pleasure, at least just for a little bit. And so that's when we start getting addicted. But the thing is, it's never going to be enough. No amount of pleasure can fill the empty hole that we have in our hearts. So, and so what I wanted to say is that once we follow this formula of just getting pleasure, then going back down, then going back up, getting pleasure, going back down, going back up and down. So that's just a violent cycle of meaningless and material, carnal disgustingness that will just lead us to become more depressed and more sad. So in order for us to live, we have to so this idea in the West has become very popular, that in order for it to live, we have to experience things, and in order for us to have a fulfilling and purposeful life, we have to do as much things as humanly possible. And that's not true, because you don't have to do all those things to live a purposeful and meaningful life. And so I'll get more into that in the next video. But another thing is, if we keep following this formula of getting pleasure and then going back down, then whenever we're not receiving pleasure, we feel like we're at a lower point than we actually are. Because if we're used to always getting a high, just getting a high of amount of endorphins and then going back down, when we go back down, in reality, it's just our normal state that we should be. But to someone who keeps getting those highs, they'll feel awful because it feels lower than they actually are. So if we learn how to cut pleasure from our lives, if we learn how to cut pleasure from our lives, then once we are just at the normal level that we always should be, we'll feel more happy and we'll feel more grateful with what we have. And so in order for us to find happiness first, we must first find happiness and then we can move on to joy. So in order for us to first find happiness, we have to be content, and we have to learn to just be. And this is something that, especially in this generation, and I know because I am in this generation, and so something that is very common is that people just can't be. People just can't be living. They just can't focus on just living, and so they always have to be entertained, and that's something that's really dangerous. And I think that's why many people are depressed. Although I look very serious right now, I'm a very happy person, and I love my life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, even if things go wrong. You know what I always say is that as long as I have smiled once, I will have experienced more happiness than someone who has never smiled, than someone who has never existed. So that's why that comes back to life is inherently worth living. So yeah. Also, to go back to the whole thing that once we get these highs and downs of pleasure, we'll always be expecting everything. Therefore, we won't be experiencing anything new. And so that prohibits us from having new experiences, which is mainly correlated to happiness. Happiness is having experiences and looking to learn and looking forward to learning. That's what happiness is. That's the difference between happiness and pleasure. So that's what I wanted to do for this video. I just wanted to make a video about pleasure. And so this is the first part of that series. And I will be making, obviously, the other two parts. And so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you took something out of it. And, you know, one advice that I would have to other people my age, or even just older people, is just love everything and anything. Just love the little things. Just know that, be grateful, and just, enjoy the little things in life that make you smile or that make you smirk. Because if we don't enjoy those things, then we won't enjoy anything. So, yeah, that's my advice to the world, I guess. And so I just wanted to make this video because obviously there's been a lot of nihilism lately, especially in the youth. Like Friedrich Nietzsche said, the father of nihilism. He said that he who has the why can bear almost anyhow. And it's very true, and that's why many Christians say that Friedrich Nietzsche was Christianity's greatest ally and greatest enemy, because he said a lot of things that Christianity, people who have faith will generally become more successful, because and not successful as in they gain money, successful as in they find purpose in life. So yeah, I just think you cannot achieve joy without God. It is impossible to achieve joy without God. So I just wanted to put that out there. And thank you for watching this video. I'll make the next part tomorrow.